Hi, everyone. As Tom mentioned, my name is Andrew Wynn. I'm the product marketing manager for visualization products at OSIsoft. And over the next 30 to 45 minutes or so, we'll be going over implementing visualization tools that benefit the entire organization. Now, this talk is going to be broken into four parts. First, we're going to talk about the need for modern visualization tools. We're going to go over some technological changes as well as market changes and see why it's important that your organization is implementing modern day visualization tools and not outdated legacy visualization tools of the past. Understand some of the challenges that come with implementing visualization tools. Depending on where you're at, whether you've implemented tools, visualization tools, or not, you may encounter some of these challenges, and we'll discuss how to overcome them. About different tools for different needs. So throughout your organization, there's different people asking different things, and then we're going to try to identify which tools can help satisfy those needs. Then lastly, we'll talk about use cases and a few customer stories. The need for modern visualization tools. Now, to understand this need, I think it's important to first take a step back and understand the evolving world of data. Over the past 5 to 10 years, we've been seeing new technology pop up. We'll start over at the edge. And I'm sure a lot of you have been hearing about edge technology with new smart devices and new sensors, that are relatively cheap and affordable. And some people call them plug and play devices. Right, so these devices are popping up at the edge, these new smart sensors that now you're able to connect to and bring in data that you haven't been able to in the past. So we see a growth and influx in data from the edge technology that is allowing you to perform new capabilities. To the other side of the spectrum with cloud technology, right? We with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and training algorithms, we see a large growth there as well. What you see in front of you here is over 400 cloud vendors and IoT platform providers. Over 400. So the bigger question is which ones are going to survive, which ones are going to be acquired, right? And which ones are just going to outright fail, right? We don't really know the answer to that. But what we can see is that a lot of large organizations are a lot of time and effort and money into this type of technology. So we will begin to see a large growth in data within that cloud platform and that cloud kind of space where you can bring that data back into your infrastructure. And again, we see the growth of data there with newer capabilities. Now, there's another study that says by 2025, there will be 175 zettabytes worth of data. Now, if you don't know what 175 zettabytes is, number 175, add 21 zeros to it. 175 zettabytes worth of data by 2025. And needless to say, that doesn't mean your organization will be dealing with this astronomical amount of data. Right, but what it does show is that there's an exponential growth in data that's going to essentially go beyond 2025. The question is, how are you going to ingress the data? How are you going to handle the data and share the data? It needs to be done differently and it needs to be done in a more agile way. So, what is the goal of all of this? Well, the goal of all this is to collect the data in order for you to gain insights in real time into your critical operations. Right? So what I just spoke about here on the left side, kind of those edge devices, right? These new millions of smart devices, the sensors, would jump to the far right side, the community. Right? With the new cloud technology, it allows you to communicate between your enterprises a lot easier. In the middle, we see the big three, the assets, the plant, and the enterprise. As a maintenance engineer or an operator, your day to day, you go in and you're asking about the health of your sensors and your assets, making sure that those are in good standings. But as a plant manager, you're coming in, also you're wondering about the health of your assets, of your overall plant between all of your units and et cetera. Well, moving towards the enterprise, if you're upper management or executives, comparing across plants and making sure that the entire organization and enterprise as a whole is performing healthy. Collect the data, we can run the analytics, and we can do all that to calculate the health. But there's one final step that we need to take, and that's to visualize these critical operations. And that's precisely why OSIsoft has created visualization tools designed for critical operations. The middle there, the assets, the plants, and the enterprise. That's your critical operations. And these tools allow the operator and engineer to see your critical operations in real time when they need to see it. But moving over towards that enterprise, bridging to the community of multiple enterprises, and there are tools out there that are designed for business analytics. Third-party visualization tools like Power BI, Spotfire, Tableau, ClickView, right? And we have technology called Pi integrators that can integrate and bring your Pi system data into these business analytic platforms to perform those, pattern recognition and more difficult type of calculations and analytics there as well. So we can really live in a world where we have multiple visualization tools that span your enterprise but serves different purposes. Now, getting into implementing the tools, you may encounter some challenges. So as I mentioned, whether you are already an existing customer that have implemented visualization tools, or just in the early stages of wondering how, beware of some of these challenges that you may encounter. Understandable data and operation and process views. So you can bring in a lot of data into your data historian, your infrastructure, right? And a lot of times that data coming in is coming in with control system names, right? These tag names are very ambiguous and it's very difficult for a lot of people outside of your business group or your team to understand. So understand that there needs to be a way to first convert that data and give it some context, human friendly names before you build it out into these visualization tools. Because you can build displays out, but if you send that display to someone else with information that doesn't make sense to them and it's not consumable, well, then the display isn't going to be as beneficial and effective to them. For IT to provide results, we see a lot of dependencies between operations and IT, but really you're going to need a tool that allows for self-service. We hear this a lot, that the operator and engineer needs self-service their display builder as well as their data without needing to wait on these IT request tickets just to gain data access or just to have IT change the display for them, right? When we talk about those critical operations that I was talking about, it's matter. So as an operator and engineer, we need a more agile tool, or you need a more agile tool to really get the answers and insights that you need when you need them. Displays in the field. I think a lot of, in today's world, not everyone is glued to their laptops and their desktop, right? But it seems like a lot of people are glued to their phones, right? So now imagine on a Sunday, you're out, let's say you're out golfing on a Sunday, right? You're enjoying your time, but you receive an email and there's something critical going on at your plant. But it's Sunday and it's not feasible to really drive all the way there in, quick enough time. And you have to make a bunch of phone calls, not sure who to reach out to. But let's imagine you have a visualization tool that is mobile friendly, right? So you receive that email, and within that email, you can simply click a URL on your mobile device, and it brings up the display in real time. So you can begin to explore that display and find out what's going on to know who to reach out to. You're saving a lot of time there and possibly preventing a catastrophic failure. Sharing insights. It's great that you can build displays for yourself and begin getting insights for yourself. It's even more beneficial to scale it out to your team and possibly across other lines of businesses as well. And so you're going to have to really find a way to make it scalable. Moving from reactive to proactive alerts. There are scenarios where reactive alerts are, right? Imagine the light bulb in your home. I don't think anyone's really walking around saying, well, we're at about 9,800 run hours, 200 hours here. We're going to need to, schedule maintenance to change the light bulb, right? A lot of people will let the light bulb burn out, go to the closet, pick up another light bulb, screw it in, and you're back in action, right? So in that kind of scenario, simplicity, it's completely fine. It's cheap, it's obtainable, it's perfectly fine. But again, critical operations, we need to move towards a proactive method of getting to uh, scheduling the maintenance and preventing the issues. Right? So you need a visualization tool that could possibly either be linked to an alert, like I mentioned in an email, or possibly just visual cues, right? Something on the display that's flashing red to catch your attention. These monitoring, your process monitoring displays. So just at a glance, you can see which ones are in need of maintenance and which ones need some attention. Challenges that you should keep in mind and understand that as you work through and implement a visualization tool, these challenges need to be overcome and kept in mind. I mentioned throughout the organization, there's different personas, right? Different people asking different things. So of course, there's different tools for these different needs. As an example, let's say your organization has a process engineer, production manager, reporting analyst, right? We see data scientists now, another big role that's coming out in the past 5 to 10 years that we haven't seen before. Right? And control room techs, engineers, but they're all asking different things. Now, the process engineer could be asking, can we increase the overall yield? Our production managers are asking, what's the forecast of productivity? And again, the data scientist is asking, can we find new savings with machine learning? Right? So how can we implement tools that can benefit all these different personas? In front of you here is a comparison chart, and across the top you see three different categories. We'll start at the top left with PyVision. Vision is OSIsoft's flagship data visualization tool that allows you to view your critical operations in real time. Now, as I mentioned, real time. PyVision is excellent for real-time process monitoring, multi-stating of certain assets, and it's self-service, so these operators and engineers can build the displays for themselves. And lastly, that last bullet there, if you build this on top of AF context, the data becomes easy to navigate and easy to understand. So this information becomes consumable and you can really get the most out of these displays. Into PyVision a little bit more in a few slides here. Moving to PyDataLink in the middle, this is OSIsoft's product that plugs into Excel. So we understand as engineers, engineers love abilities of Microsoft Excel. And with this plugin, you can bring in PySystem data to an Excel format, so row column format, where you can create automated reports, spot calculations, analyze historical data analysis. And again, we'll get into PyDataLink in a little bit in a few slides here. And lastly, BI tools on the right-hand side. We see Power BI, ClickView, Spotfire, Tableau. And this is what I mentioned, is that last step where you have your operational data, but you need to combine it with some sort of business data. So these are the type of tools that we understand that are expertise in that kind of field, right? You're combining operations data with business data, and dicing between variables and correlations where access isn't held solely to time, right? It could be trended against something else. So you're creating matrices and variables to see different correlations and patterns and everything there. Let's jump into PyVision in a little bit more detail. The fastest and easiest way for you to visualize your PySystem data. So there's three things from this slide that I want you to remember. Is that PyVision is easy to use, self-service, and that it's scalable. And it's easy to access data from any modern day browser, any web browser on any device, and that's because it's built on HTML5, right? So it was built with collaboration in mind for you to be able to view your displays, edit them, and then share them and view them across any device with anyone on your team. You can organize and share these displays easily across your organization because it's a web-based tool. It's a simple copy and paste of your URL and then sending it to a colleague where they simply have to click that URL and they can see what you're seeing as well. Things that I asked you to remember: easy to use, self-service, and scalable. Talk about easy to use. So what makes PyVision easy to use? Intuitive interface and has dynamic displays that lends to easy display navigation. How do you benefit from this? Operator or an engineer, within minutes, you can begin building your displays and discovering the insights into your assets when you need it. And we hear this from customers all the time that they say within 15 to 30 minutes of just playing around with the tool, they can begin building out these trends and displays and really seeing these insights into their assets that they haven't seen before. So it's a really intuitive and easy tool for someone to pick up and learn. Of learning, as a plant manager, we know members leave your team and join your team all the time, right? So change management isn't easy. Training takes time and takes resources, right? But because it's easy to use, imagine shortening that learning curve for your new team members. Easier for these new team members to come up to speed and understand and how to self-serve themselves. That leads us into self-service, right? There's quick access to data, there's fast display building with mobile capabilities. The benefits that you see here, again, as an operator or an engineer, you can find the data that you need without the dependency of business groups like IT. And as I mentioned earlier, with critical operations, there's really not a lot of time to wait on these IT request tickets. Something over the fence and waiting to hear back. You need to diagnose the problem yourself immediately. The plant manager, we understand that you don't have all the resources in the world, but with a self-service tool, you can optimize the performance of your team and have them performing as efficiently as possible because now there is no dependency on other business groups. IT, IT begins to see a benefit here as well. They can reduce the resources needed to help operations with data access. Right now, this is opposing to that operator and engineer benefit. IT can hold on to their resources and dedicate those resources to do what they need. PyVision is also scalable. You can reduce the number of displays by using related assets. You can easily just organize your displays and rapidly deploy and roll out new projects. This is a major benefit for IT, as it's easy for them to manage, maintain, and upgrade moving forward. Right? So there's no need for IT to push out updates single client machine and have to ensure and make sure that everyone is updating product on their local machine. Right? They just have to update one single server for PyVision, and whoever is hitting that server will see that update. It's as simple as that. So with that, there's less hardware to update, making new projects and rolling out to new plants that come online a lot easier as well. Upper management and executives begin to see benefits as well. Of course, they're not looking at the level of detail of the assets and data that operations and engineers are, but they need a view where they can quickly glance at a display and see the health across the organization. Right? So you can build displays for executives and upper management by rolling up these calculations into key performance indicators, what we call asset analytics, right? And we can roll all that up and build it in the display where now upper management at a glance can see the health across the organization. See, is PyVision is really providing visualization that benefits the entire organization. From the operator and engineer to the plant managers to IT, as well as upper management and executives, everyone is really beginning to see these benefits. With PyVision 2019, we're introducing two new and exciting things. First, we're going to start with PyProcess Book migration. Now, we may have some customers on here who are currently using PyProcess Book. Understand that over the past 5, 10, 15, even 20 years now, a lot of customers have invested a lot of time, money, and effort into PyProcess Book. Right? But with this new PyProcess Book migration tool, we want to take that investment that you've put into that tool and help you bring that investment into our latest and greatest visualization tool, which is PyVision. This tool, you're going to be able to select, analyze, and migrate all those PyProcess Book displays into native PyVision displays. It'll tell you what can be migrated, what needs to be slightly tweaked, and then which data items may not be able to be migrated, but we may have a solution for you. We can work with you on that. But essentially, you're taking the display that you see on the screen here, process book display, and quickly and easily moving it into a PyVision native display. Where now you have all the benefits of the web-based solution and collaboration across your team that PyVision provides. Also, ad hoc trending we are introducing with PyVision 2019. Now, this has been a big request that we've received from customers, right? But now you're going to be able to dive into your real-time investigations on the fly. Right? You can select data from any display and or search, and then with a simple click, send those data items, we're calling the ad hoc workspace, where it's going to automatically be trended together for you to begin your root cause analysis. Let's say you didn't select all the data items that you needed. Well, with a click, you can back out of that ad hoc workspace and select and multi-select more data items that you need from, again, any display or search. And with one more click, you can send that back to this workspace where it will automatically be added to this display. Lastly, you can save that display and send it over to a colleague so they can pick up where you left off. So really what we see is a seamless problem-solving workflow. Data link. This is in that middle category that I was talking about, right? The add-in into Excel. So now you can deliver the data to spreadsheets, getting to use all the capabilities that Excel has to offer. And now your Pi system is sitting in Excel. You can begin to build reports around automated reports around this data. We've had customer stories where they had report before using data link and Excel reports that monitored other reports. You're thinking, 10, 20, 30, 40 spreadsheets just to solve one issue and just to, provide one benefit, right? So imagine the time that you're saving by just having one spreadsheet, and then over every single month, what you can do is simply drop down one cell and change from July to August for in this example, that display will update. You can perform historical analysis, right, because it is Excel capable. Then lastly, Power Pivot, right? You can build out dashboards with gauges, tables, trends, and then with quick filters on the left-hand side there, quickly filter out what you want to see in these graphics and widgets. The BI tools. Now again, this is the step where you combine Pi system data with business data. So an example here is, let's say you were able to use the Pi system and run some calculations and analytics and monitor certain assets over time. Seen over time that that asset is not performing well and it needs to be replaced. Maybe it's a certain pattern where across a certain manufacturer or a certain model needs to be replaced. But this is the step where now you can combine that data and that proof with financial data, right? And justify the cost of maybe ROI, or return on investment of replacing those assets and proving to upper management and executives saying, well, in this amount of time, we will get the money back, but we'll see, an increase in efficiency and performance if we replace these products. So if we replace these parts or these assets, we're seeing two sides to the problem. So you can trend against different x-axis variables other than time. And in order to get the Pi system data into these BI platforms, you can use the Pi integrators. And we have a lot of information on our website around Pi integrators, so feel free to learn more about that. Lastly, let's talk about some use cases and customer stories. This is actually an example that I received from a colleague a few months ago, and this was a real scenario from his previous job. Right? So the morning stand-up meeting. Now, I'm sure a lot of people on this call have experienced the morning stand-up meeting, whether it's every day or maybe once a week. Right? But you go in, you go through the status, and you write things down. And we have, if we look across here, we see green, we see red, we see different numbers, we see symbols, question marks. The issue here is that it's a manual process, error prone, and it's time consuming to do. Here we see these question marks, as I mentioned, this large gap down here. What does that actually mean? Right? Did someone forget to input the information? Was there downtime? We're not really sure. And here, the smiley face and the frowny face. Right? I can only assume that the smiley face means good, the frowny face means bad, but what kind of magnitude of good and what kind of magnitude of bad? Right? We don't really have that answer. But with the Pi system and data link, we can translate it into the format of an Excel spreadsheet or a report. And with this, it's automatic, and it's accurate. So anyone looking at this, it's one version of the truth, and you can glance at it and kind of quickly see, what is going on. You can multi-state it and have items pop up in red if it's bad, green if it's good, but it's understandable to everyone. And in his scenario here, they were able to reduce their stand-up meeting time from 40 minutes down to merely 40 seconds. And that's because they were able to move into a more intuitive and automated form of reporting. Another example is in-house real-time tools for controller fit for service. Right, so this is actually an example for oil and gas for the controller fit for service. Now, this is one example here where there's an existing spreadsheet and it's all manually entered with some calculations, but we can have this be more visually appealing and more, if we bring this through the Pi system and then begin trending it in a Pi Vision display. Right? So at a glance, we see different alerts, we see different modes and the controllers. And what's great about this now is that with a single click, you can click on one of those controllers and it will bring you to an asset-centric display. So if you see kind of across the top there where it says controller health detail, looking at asset controller number 4. And if you drop that down, you can also select 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Everything on this display will update correspondingly to the controller that you chose. So there's no need to jump between spreadsheets or workbooks. It's just a simple drop-down menu, and then that display right there will update for you. You can select into more of those trends or the tables, compare the events. Right here we see event tables. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is Pi Vision bring in these events quickly. An event is essentially a bookmark in time, right? Imagine as a bookmark in time where the event starts and ends threshold that you defined. So if something goes out of a certain threshold or a parameter, it begins the event. Once it goes back in or exceeds a certain time, it ends the event. So with Pi Vision, you can compare these events quickly in a trend format where if this was not possible, it could take hours to pull this data into Excel and try to build this out. Or geospatial type of information, right? At a glance, maybe there's weather conditions, right? I know in California right now, there's a few weather conditions affecting the power, right? So maybe something like that, you can quickly begin to rationalize why there's an issue happening as well. Bring that back into Excel, and then now using Data Link and the Pi system, you can build these automated reports that are going to update automatically for you, and is a lot more intuitive and is a lot less work. Lastly, that last step, if you need to combine this with other information besides just time, you can bring it into a BI tool and begin to see some pattern recognition and trend it against other business type of data. A few customer success stories, and we see A2A. They are Italy's largest multi-utility company, delivering heat, light, and water to over 2 million customers. After adopting the Pi system and Pi Vision, they have over 200 Pi Vision displays which are optimized for mobile devices. So now they're able to really really monitor their enterprise in real time wherever they're at. So they're really taking advantage of the mobile capabilities, improve their reliability and savings on the energy trading market. SBM Offshore is an operator of 14 offshore oil and production processing facilities, which produces over 1 million barrels of oil per day. Now, they were able to reduce their downtime simply by implementing a real-time visualization tool. Before that, they didn't have the ability to really view their data in real time. And by building out reactive analytics, now they can begin to move towards the condition-based maintenance and reactive maintenance, move from the reactive analytics and maintenance towards a predictive analytic and maintenance. SWCC, they supply over 20% of the world's desalinated water. They were able to create quickly 400 Pi Vision displays to monitor key metrics. So now they can view all their assets in real time. From the image there, you can see they moved from kind of a roundtable meeting, simply looking at displays for anyone in the organization to understand quickly how their organization is performing. Now, all three of these customer success stories are on OSIsoft's website, full blogs that you can read into a lot more detail. So I recommend if you are interested, please go to our corporate website and you can find these and many more customer stories there. Lastly, to summarize, so when implementing a visualization tool, be sure to choose a modern visualization tool that can keep up with that evolving world of data. Right? Technology isn't going to stop growing. The edge technology is going to grow. The cloud technology is continuing to grow. So there's new data and more data coming in. So you need a visualization tool that is agile enough to keep up with that changing and evolving world of data. Those challenges that you may encounter, right? How can you overcome, making that data understandable to more people? Need some context around it, right? And mobile capabilities so you can see the data and displays wherever you're at. Lastly, choosing the right visualization tool for the job. Right? So Pi Vision provides an easy to use, self-service, and scalable view of your critical operations in real time. And again, as I mentioned, we're introducing ad hoc trending, which is now going to be providing that seamless problem solving workflow. So you can begin your root cause analysis and then quickly and easily hand it off to a coworker and they can pick up where you left off. Data Link enables Excel functionality for reporting and historical data analysis. So these automated reports with Excel functionalities and Power Pivot can all be done by utilizing Pi Data Link. Lastly, those BI tools. You can combine your operational data, your Pi data, right, with this business data and financial data with the BI tools that you may already have in place. And to do so, you would utilize the Pi integrators. Thank you for your time. And I think at this time, I'll hand it over to Tom.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll be taking questions from our audience. Once again, use the Q&A option to the right on your WebEx interface, and we will answer your questions as they arrive. If you happen to change your view to full screen, the Q&A option may now be located at the bottom, so keep an eye out for that. And we do have a couple questions that have popped in here. Andrew, we have one Pi user on our webinar today, and they're asking like our IT group has Pi Vision 2017 R2, and they're in the maintenance engineering team. How can they work to create custom graphs or polar plots to Pi Vision? They've read about extending Pi Vision with Pi Web API. Does this add on to Pi Vision, or does this create a new web app?
Um, yes, so there is capabilities of extensibility into Pi Vision. So I know you can create custom symbols and custom items like that. I think this might come down to a pretty specific use case. You like, I think we can continue this discussion. We may have some examples that are already existing in our kind of our own internal database that I can provide to you. And if you like, please reach out to me with kind of that symbol that you're thinking about, and then I can find if we have any examples of how it's done in the past. And of course, I'll give you recommendations there. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Andrew. Our next question, is it possible to create simple calculated values through formulas in Vision?
So yeah, so the calculations and formulas can't be done client side, meaning in Pi Vision. What I did mention is that as you're building out these Pi Vision displays, the back end of it, where a lot of the context and the data is coming from, could be coming through Asset Framework. And in Asset Framework, we have what's called Asset Analytics. And these Asset Analytics are quick and simple ways for you to add maybe two temperatures together, maybe calculating the efficiency of a pump. All those can be done right in Asset Framework with words that mean something to you, right? So flow one plus flow two, something like that. And then you define the variables, and then in Pi Vision, you can easily create a trend or a value symbol and pull that data in. So it's not done in PyVision specifically, but it's very very closely tied into PyVision in terms of where PyVision is pulling data from.
Excellent, thank you. Our next question, does the PyVision make live math calculations? For example, if OPC receives a diff pressure variable, can they do calculations to obtain volumetric flow online and show it in the display?
Yeah, so this is actually very similar to the previous question. Yeah, if it depends. So the calculations won't be done in PyVision. So the data streams that you're getting through OPC, right? That would go to the data historian first, the Py data archive, and then after that, you can have that data move into your asset framework where the asset analytics can run that calculation. You would define one asset analytic to calculate that volumetric flow rate, and then that last step of PyVision, it will pull in that volumetric flow rate in either whatever symbol you choose, right? A value symbol, um, trend, anything like that. But again, the calculation is done in Asset Framework.
Andrew, we've had a lot of questions about PyVision 2019. I know that there was a release of PyVision that occurred back in May. Are there any other future releases that our audience should know about?
Yeah, actually, I don't believe there was a release back in May, so it was probably last year. The latest version so far is PyVision 2017 R2. The PyVision 2019 is going to be released in the upcoming weeks here. We're hoping just a few short weeks. They're just finishing up a few things, but keep an eye out for that. And again, that's going to be introducing those two new things: the process book migration and ad hoc trending, as well as some security streamlining for XY plots and events tables, making those symbols a little easier to set up. But yeah, we are hoping in the upcoming weeks here, PyVision 2019 will be released.
My apologies about getting the date wrong.
No worries. No worries.
All right, our next question. What is the OSIsoft recommended method of delivering Pi data into Tableau?
Tableau, yeah. So the recommended way would be the Pi integrator for business analytics. Yeah, if you, I would recommend reaching out to your account manager if you have one, or the software development rep, depending if you're a current customer or prospect. But we can provide you a lot more information around that. And I know we do have plenty of customers who use the Pi integrator for business analytics for that purpose. So we can definitely provide you with that information. So please reach out.
All right, our question. Will PyVision have the ability to do sets for quick calculations, like on Process Book or just using Asset Framework?
No, so unfortunately, data sets won't be available in PyVision.
Thank you. Our next question. We have over 400 process book displays in use, official or private, and some have data sets in VB code. With this volume of displays, what should we expect in terms of time or effort to migrate our older displays to PyVision?
Yeah, I think that's a very hard question to answer, just because the breadth and the span of what VBA and data sets can do. It's going to be is very almost customer or display, I should say, display specific. Um, it's really hard to gauge the effort without actually running the tool. So the tool essentially, I can give a little bit more detail on the tool. So the tool during the analyzing stage, I don't know if you've seen the demo or not. And quickly, if everyone's listening here, Ryan McAleen and I, the product manager for PyVision, gave a live demo of the migration tool itself at PyWorld this past San Francisco event, as well as Gothenburg. And you can find those events on our corporate website to see those live demos. The migration tool will analyze the displays and let you know if those data sets or VB code, or all the other symbols on the process book display can migrate to native PyVision functionality. It it will send you an alert and say that data sets and VBA are not able to migrate over. So, as I mentioned, it is really hard to gauge. I understand 400 displays, is a good bit, but it's really the tool itself will still migrate that display for you. and it's hard for me to put a percentage on it as well, right? And saying, is it 80% of the display is VBA? Is it only 50% of the display is VBA? It's really right. So there's a lot to it, but nonetheless, the migration tool will still bring that display into PyVision and create the display. Just those data items that were not able to be migrated will not migrate. So just there will be a mitigation plan or some sort of plan to work around that. And again, as calculations go, maybe something in asset analytics can be done. Calculations can be done there to view the same thing. Maybe items in like a table can be created through a table view in PyVision, right? Those are just very simple examples, but yeah, the moving forward here, we do plan on releasing a document that's going to outline everything that can move and what cannot move, and hopefully we can provide some recommendations around that. So, please keep an eye out for that as well. And that will come out closer to the release of PyVision 2019 and the migration tool.
Thanks, Andrew. And to reiterate, we will be providing the recording of the demonstration that Andrew conducted at PyWorld with the recording and slides from this webinar. So stay tuned. You'll see that within your email. Andrew, a couple more questions here. Is it typical to allow users to edit asset framework analytics so that they can insert calculations, or is it recommended to limit that to a narrow group of Pi experts?
I think that's really going to come down to the just the security at your organization. Um, it depends how you want to set it up, right? It could be just the Pi admin as well as maybe some power users, right? Because see, there's benefits both sides, right? It's great to have people, as I mentioned, self-serve, but going into asset framework, it could get kind of dangerous where if you're allowing a lot of access, it could be built out so quickly, and then now, down the line, you may be going through a plan where now you have to clean up the asset framework. So I think my recommendation would be to I define the calculations that you need at first and then start small and have a small set of people um, create those calculations. As you move forward, if there's a need for more calculations, begin to gauge the magnitude of how much more needs to be done. Um, and depending on how much needs to be done, there's two routes, right? To either just have a dedicated group to do those calculations or possibly expand it out to more users. But again, that's going to be down to the comfort level and the security that you have set up at your organization.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, our next question, can notifications be configured right from PyVision?
No, it can't be configured in PyVision. It also has to be done in the asset framework tool, which is called PySystem Explorer. So in there, you can set up your notifications, build that. My recommendation there, build it at a template level. And anything in asset framework that is built at a template level can be rolled out extremely fast. So any asset that looks similar to that template that you built, you can apply it to all those assets. A quick example here, you build out one template for, let's call it a pump, right? And you have 10 pumps. Well, you build that one kind of notification for pump one. Well, because you have nine other pumps, you can easily apply that notification out to your other nine pumps with a simple click. So there's no need to create, 10, 50, 100 different notifications. You can create one at a template level and have it roll out. So just keep that in mind as a recommendation there. But to answer your question, the notification is built in Asset Framework.
Thanks, Andrew. All right, folks, we got a couple more questions. If we did not get to your question today, we will certainly follow up with a response afterward. Our next question, is there a way to import SQC charts from Process Book into PyVision?
I don't believe SQC charts can go into PyVision.
Elaborate more on that? Like,
It's just, I think it comes down to, my understanding is it just comes down to the technological backend of the product. Process Book and PyVision, of course, are built on extremely different technologies, and the newer technologies just not capable of bringing in the SQC charts.
thank you for that elaboration. We have another question. Is PyVision an add-on to the Pi system, just like businesses have to get add-on licenses for Power BI or Spotfire?
Yeah, it does have its own license that you would need to purchase. In terms of actually, structuring the purchase and all that, I highly recommend talking to your account manager. But yes, it typically does not come with the standard Pi system set. But again, please talk to your account manager about that and all the licensing questions there.
Thanks, Andrew. Someone mentioned a custom symbol for Pi Vision. Is there a symbol for manual data entry through Pi Vision?
Um, so it's not standard. There is no manual data entry into Pi Vision. Currently, there could be a workaround for that. I think there might be examples of customers who have done that in the past, but I can't pull that off the top of my head right now. But for the standard symbols that come with PyVision, no, there is no manual data entry symbol.
If you'd like to know more, we could definitely connect you with one of our systems engineers for greater detail.
Yep, exactly.
All right, well, folks, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. If we did not get to your question today, please we will definitely reach out with one of our follow-up emails sent out afterward. And if you do have additional questions you would like addressed, please feel free to reach out to us from the emails that we'll be sending out shortly. Once again, thank you for attending our webinar, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And Andrew, thank you so much for your participation and your presentation today.
And thank you everyone for attending.
All right, take care, everyone.